Cool.
All right, I'm ready. My bad.
All right. Actually, real quick, I gotta
Yeah,
get my
buddy.
DoorDash because
Go do
I
it.
have
Hell yeah.
frozen food just sitting on the porch right now.
Go get it.
Behind the scenes, real quick. This might be. Who knows? This might be the banter.
This is the banter.
The
Banter. I'll
banter.
talk. I'll talk to the people.
All right.
Hey. Hey. Well, you left my topic up. Should I just go now? Smalls can't hear you. Hey guys, I just wanted to talk to you about some stuff going on in your life. Not my life, your life. There comes a time in a man's life where he can no longer give himself advice. He has to give other people advice because I've fucked up my life, guys. It's gone. 28 years old, down the drain. But you can still make something out of yourself. Just go to www.thoughtsfromthebench.com and apply, and you can still do something with your life despite wasting 28 years of my life.
I don't know what that was, but
Got to rewatch it.
hey, I secured the bag. I got those Tyson sanitizers.
How fucking close are you to your door?
Oh, I'm
That was
right
the
here.
quickest. Oh, sick.
Yeah.
Let's go.
What's up, guys? It's your boy Smalls back on All Purpose Garbage, college football show for idiots. Big week this week, but as always, my man Deke, how's it going, brother?
Yo, good, buddy. I just remembered that there was another bet on my list that I didn't account for. But you know what, man? We're here. We're back. I love this show. I just want you to know, I have been more knowledgeable talking to people about college football this year than my entire existence.
That's awesome. I'm glad that I can show you the ropes a little bit. Even though I'm pretty sure you might have a better record than me on our picks. You might. We were tied
I
last
might
week.
I might just bet Iowa from now on.
Yeah. If
I
if
can't
they're
explain
a wagon,
it, dude.
If they're a wagon, like why the fuck not? Like
It's waving at children. That's all it is.
waving at children. I mean, that's the thing. There's always one thing, and it's always dumb, that makes you want to bet on a team and ride with them. Last year was the Mullets,
Yeah.
So I had
Gotta
to.
love the Mullets.
But Deke, big week this
Yes,
past
sir.
week. A lot of stuff happened. A lot of stuff to talk about.
Oh, let's go. I just hit another one.
Ooh, look at that. Which one?
That was the UTEP game that I randomly picked up.
Yeah.
It was UTEP plus 26. Wait, never mind. No, hold on. I was looking at
Can
the
you do
BCU
math?
game. So 54 minus 13, in fact, is more than 26. Scratch that. Did not hit. Good
Whoops.
thing I didn't bet it. But it is on the official record.
There we go. On the transcript. All right.
Fucking Boise State, man.
Yeah, boys. I wouldn't bet against Boise State. I was.
I know. I was riding
considering
UTEP
them-
high.
Yeah, I was considering them this week actually, but
Yeah.
all right.
Fuck.
Let's get into our recap. So I think the biggest story this weekend is Oregon might actually be really fucking good.
Oh, I without their two best defensive players, which Thibodeau's going number one overall pretty much on every board. They came in, and granted, we talked about it last week, man. Ohio State looked shaky in the first half of their game last week, right? But you still saw them kind of getting it together. Here comes the old Ohio State. Olav is great. I love Ryan Day as a coach. This, in my mind, is a way more damning loss than Clemson, Georgia, when we get to the nitty gritty of the playoffs.
No, 1,000%. Because I think, first of all, I think it kind of shows that the Pac-12 might be for real. And I mean that. That's hard to say because you never hear that. But
Yeah, don't say that too loud.
I know. And I know that they're definitely going to let me down. But I do think that the Pac-12 is legit because, I mean, if you watch that game Oregon was dominant. It wasn't the score might have been close, but it never felt close. Ohio State never had it in the bag, never had any control over that game. Oregon just ran all over them.
Yeah, dude.
And
That Oregon team. Here's the thing about Oregon is like they fit in the category for me of teams that every once in a while have a draft relevant guy. And I'm like, oh, that draft relevant guy, Marcus Mariota, Justin Herbert. You know what I mean? This is a team. This is a real team, and I think that the Pac might finally get someone in the college football playoffs.
Yep. So they had Washington once, and Washington really was like one of the better games that Bama had in the playoffs since it started.
Was Jacob Eason still at the home, right?
I forget if it was. No, it wasn't Jacob Eason. Who was it? It was Jake something. Jake Locke.
Let's see.
Not Jake Locker, was it?
Locker doesn't sound too bad. I'll dig in, but you keep talking about it, brother.
But so I think that's the biggest takeaway is that Oregon is actually legitimate. I don't think that people really gave them enough credit, including myself. I just thought Ohio State was going to be Ohio State. The problem with Ohio State is their defense is fucking garbage, and C.J. Stroud, I'm not going to say that he's bad because I do think he has a lot of talent. If you watch him, he's
Jake
not
Browning.
Jake Browning. I knew it was Jake. I knew it was Jake. But Ohio State C.J. Stroud has the talent.
Yes.
I don't know if he's there yet. He is a redshirt freshman, so he's young. But he has a talent. I just don't think he's it right now, and I'm just waiting for the day that the Ohio State fan base calls for Quinn Ewers to get subbed in. And I know it's going to happen.
Well, hear me out. People were calling for Quinn Ewers to get subbed in the first half of the Minnesota game.
Yep.
When Quinn Ewers was not even at the stadium.
Yeah. No, I know. Like, dude, it's crazy. Like, I don't know. This is the first time since I can remember that Ohio State has a quarterback that doesn't look like he has the the mental fortitude. He looks shaky. Yeah. I haven't seen that from an Ohio State quarterback in a long time.
Well, we've been a little spoiled with Ohio State quarterbacks.
Yep.
In recent memory, I mean, obviously Justin Fields had looked phenomenal last year, and it was hard. As much as you hate Ohio State, I think it's impossible to hate Justin Fields.
I disagree. I hate Justin.
Why?
It's because I'm petty, and he committed to Penn State and ended up signing with
that's
Georgia.
Fair.
So
that's fair. Well, he's from down that way.
Yeah, he is. So I mean, I get that.
Man, him at Penn State, holy!
That's what I'm saying.
Shit,
no,
with that team,
that would have been one of the biggest signings that we would have had in a
recent
long
memory.
Time, yeah. Who knows if he would have panned out because it's fucking Penn State and none of our big reports end up panning out. But, yeah, man, C.J. Stroud, I just don't know if he's it. I think they should give him some time because he clearly has the skill. I just think he kind of gets the yips and he overthrows and it's just not really there yet.
No, and I agree. And looking at their schedule, I mean, coming up next, they got Rutgers.
Not
Rutgers. I'm sorry. They have Rutgers coming up on October 2nd, but I still want to talk about Rutgers.
Yep.
Not as bad as they have been.
Greg Schiano coaching them up pretty well, recruiting decently too.
Yeah.
So not talking shit on Rutgers.
Rutgers sucks. Josh sucks. But they got Tulsa, they got Akron, two pretty much makeup games. Two games that, I love me some Zips. Don't get me wrong. Shout out Bueno. But those shouldn't be an issue. You got Rutgers, then Maryland, who's always tough, Indiana, who's always tough, and then you get to October 30th. They have a couple soft spots until they get to Penn State, Smalls. That's what I want to say about Ohio State. They have that chance to figure it out before they get to the bigger games, which are Ohio State, the next week Nebraska, and then Purdue.
Yeah, I don't know, though, man. Like, C.J. Stroud just doesn't – he's not it. Like,
he's not Sean Clifford.
Well, that is true. Not talking up Sean Clifford in that statement, but no, yeah, I just don't. You could tell during the first half against Minnesota, like Justin Fields, he went out there and you knew that he had at least a handle on what was going on. C.J. Stroud, he has the talent. I just don't know if he has it up here quite yet. He's young. Give him another season. But that seems to be what everyone's talking about. No one's really talking about how Oregon might actually just be really good. Mario Cristobal, hell of a coach. So
yeah, 100%.
And I was wrong about their quarterback. Anthony Brown actually looks decent. I don't know if he's like top draft pick or anything, but he looked capable at least. And what was their running back name? C.J. Verdell on Oregon. Just wow, what a fucking performance that guy had. That guy was incredible. But yeah, I don't know, man. We'll see kind of what happens with Ohio State. I want to see if Oregon stays where they got ranked this week, and we'll get into the rankings in a sec. Moving on.
Let's get to the next,
Yeah, and second one. why, Deke, answer me this question. Why do the voters always get off on Notre Dame? Every year. It's the
Bro,
same story.
There's a simple reason why everyone in the world should hate Notre Dame, honestly. Just
Brian
join
Kelly.
a
Yeah,
fucking
and that.
conference.
Yeah, just do it.
Like, what about it? Why won't you? Why does Notre Dame think that they're God's gift to earth? When's the last time that we saw a Notre Dame team that was competent? I'll tell you when it was. Manti Te'o and his fake ex-girlfriend, and that elite defense got absolutely fucking decimated by Alabama.
Embarrassed.
Play someone.
Yep.
They should have. Man, they should have. I wish they would have fucking lost to Toledo.
Mm-hmm. Well, if you do the simple math here, and I texted you a picture a few days ago. If you do the simple math. So Notre Dame went to double overtime against Florida State. Florida State had possibly the worst loss in FBS history.
Shout out to the lineman that got engaged with the team celebrating behind him, though. Yep. Hey, man, adversity.
Adversity, yeah. Which, I don't know how I feel about that. I don't know if I would do that. I
wouldn't say yes. I would not say yes if I was her.
I don't know if that's it. I don't know.
Oh, that's it to me.
Okay. I just don't think that that's the time. Like, I don't know if that's really, but
that's why you got to earn me to say yes to give me a ring, and you just got your butt handed to you by the team celebrating over there. I'm gonna go get engaged to one of those guys.
Well, yeah. Bye-bye. That last play against Florida State by Jacksonville State, Florida State looked bad. Just on the walk off.
Jacksonville State looked very good, but Florida State looked bad.
Yeah, an 0-2 Jacksonville State team.
Yes,
bad. So that game. Plus, Toledo almost beating Notre Dame, a MAC team almost beating Notre Dame. I don't get it. Yeah, sure, they found ways to win in both those games, but clearly, like, you should not be even close to a MAC team, and they are still getting votes. I don't fucking understand it. They barely moved down. If the simple math, it doesn't make any sense to me. This is not a great football team. I
honestly do believe that their team should be executed.
It's a strong take right there.
I believe in their coach saying things he means to say.
He's
also the second best Kelly at the coaching position that I'm aware of. I'm sure there might be others out there, but I just want to say he is the lower form. Chip is number one.
There we go. I think Eagles fans would disagree with you on that one.
Oregon fans wouldn't.
Yep. I know. I'm going to retract my statement at the beginning of this season. Miami is not back. I did pick App State in this game. They did cover.
Yeah.
Miami just
I wanted them to win,
I know.
man. 9 points was a good barrier for Appalachian State.
Yep. No, yeah, and they were up. They could have won. And I told you, they're legit. I know that they're not.
I love their TikTok account.
They're very entertaining team to watch.
Quality.
Sick uniforms too.
Massively dope.
Sick uniforms.
Took me forever to find out what state they were in.
Yep. Really?
The Appalachian Mountains stretch many states. The Appalachian Mountains stretch many states.
That they do. Yeah, but I mean, I guess App State Mountaineers, I guess they really could be anywhere.
Appalachian Mountain Range. Put it into Google. I butchered that one. It spans. I was going to say 480 million miles. It's 480 million years is when it apparently was. How the fuck do they know when it was founded?
Science. Get off their dick, bro. They're scientists. They know what they're talking about.
It goes to Canada, though, is my point.
Yeah.
This could be a Canadian college for all we know.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah, that is true. But regardless, getting back on track here, App State, legit. Miami, not as legit as I thought, or anyone
kind
else
of legit, but not as legit as because we like Miami. We're a pro Miami show.
I would say so. Yep.
Maybe not so much anymore.
Yeah. I'm just not a believer anymore. You can't lay an egg against. I know it's Bama, but you can't lay an egg against Bama and then almost lose to a team that's a G5 team. You just can't do it.
Yes, agreed.
Texas, also another team that is not back.
They are
Texas,
so the opposite of back.
dude, they fooled everyone week 1.
Yep.
Everyone. Arkansas just fucking demolished them. And I know that Arkansas is they're definitely, people are looking at them as an up-and-coming program. Right now, they're kind of getting back to the whole Bobby Petrino motorcycle accident scene.
Razorbacks.
But Arkansas that's the thing. I don't even know if Arkansas is good. I have no idea.
I think they are. And here's the reason I think they're good. There was a video release of the security guard coming up to the coach, and he looked like King Dick security guard.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, "Hey, coach, just to let you know, we're going to have to let the kids on the field. They're going to bring the goalpost down."
Mm-hmm.
And the coach was like, "Yeah, we'll pay for it. Like, football team will pay for the fine." And the guy says, "I appreciate that. Like, I just need to let you know that we're letting the kids down. Otherwise, someone's going to get hurt.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to bring the goalpost." He said, I believe the words were they were going to initiate the goalpost coming down. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, there would be kids on the field.
Yep.
And the coach was like, "Do whatever you have to do.
Yep.
We will pay for everything."
Mad
and
respect.
just stood there crying. And kids were coming up to him being like, "Coach," he's like, no. Go celebrate. Go.
Goosebumps. That's
Arkansas
awesome.
Arkansas is more back. Razorback. They're
Yeah.
still Razorback.
Yeah, Arkansas is Razorback. Absolutely. Hashtag Arkansas is Razorback. Let's put it on the Twitter
Put it
account.
on something. Put it on something. Hashtag Razorback.
Also, speaking of that, I did see your tweet. Work's been a bitch.
We need to get it back up.
We need to get the Lawn Boys shirt.
Yes,
I
we
can
do.
I will send you that tonight. But the
Get
Lawn
it up.
Boys shirt it's in full throttle right now.
Were you worried about Ball State?
No.
We can get to that.
Yeah. But yeah, Texas not back. That was a giant overreaction. And dude,
I like Sarkisian in my defense.
I like Sark, but what did I say before the season started? It's gonna take more than just one off season for him to turn everything around there.
Agreed.
It's gonna take a little bit of time. They're not back. I hope they never come back. I don't hate Sarkisian nearly as much as I hated Tom Herman. But
there is something to say about Texas is one of college football's greatest villains.
Yep.
For every other team. Now, everyone loves Vince Young, don't get me wrong. But like for almost every team, Texas and Notre Dame are villains that you need to be kind of good each year. It's upsetting that Texas is bad, is how I'll word it.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. College football is better when Texas is good.
Yes, 100%.
And I hated Sam Ehlinger and I hated Tom Herman. But you know what? They were a pretty fascinating team to watch back when they were doing their thing.
Dante Foreman, I loved him when he was running there.
Yeah. But yeah, Texas not back. Arkansas, are they good? I think they might be. I'll call them frisky. I don't know if they're good yet. They give them another year.
Capable.
Or two. Yeah,
they're capable.
Mm-hmm.
They are Razorback though.
Yeah, yeah. So I feel like this week, for the most part, I don't think Ohio State is a letdown. We're so used to Ohio State just dominating. So I don't.
We thought there would be a way they'd squeak it out.
Yeah, exactly, and just because they always seem
do.
to. Yeah, so no reason. So I don't really think Ohio State really got exposed either. I just think that they have some issues to work out. Just not the normal Ohio State team, but USC
exposed.
The other 4 games besides that Oregon Ohio State game, these other 4 games, I think the big storyline this week is teams getting exposed. How do you lose to a Stanford team that has been horrendous over the last few years? And
I mean, all I'm going to say, I just this proves one thing and one thing alone to me. USC will never. No, it's kind of that Coach O statement I have, where Coach O should have got a lifetime contract because they'll never live up. USC still believes they have Matt Leinart at quarterback.
Yeah, that is true.
Their fan base still believes they do.
Yep.
And they just don't, man.
Yeah. Well, I keep hearing these guys on like ESPN and all these other places saying, like USC's a national powerhouse. What coach wouldn't want to coach there? Dude, their stadium's always half empty. I know that they had some great teams back in the 2000s, but their stadiums right now, no one gives a fuck about USC.
Well, that brings up 2 names that are in that slew of rumors.
I
One
understand.
being Coach James Franklin.
Yep.
The other being Urban Meyer.
Which I was going to get to that too. I'm glad you brought that up. So he definitely came out this week, but he's done it before. He's came out this week.
He's a piece of shit. He can say anything and never go back it up.
What week do you think he's gonna say I'm gonna retire at the end of the season? What week do you think that's gonna happen? Because of a heart issue? Because that's happened twice.
6. Week 6 feels enough to be like, you know what, guys? I'm gonna be honest. I don't want to fuck up Trevor Lawrence's career. My heart's hurting.
Yep. No, I have a heart condition, guys. I want to be with my family. I'm a family man. No, he's gonna go to he's gonna go to USC. I'm calling it now. Like,
I would be surprised if he didn't.
Yeah, honestly. Franklin, on the other hand, I don't see the parallel between USC and Penn State. Franklin has been there, I think. So Penn State, we won 2 natties back in the 80s, but it's been a while. But I would still say that Penn State is one of the more storied programs in the country.
Storied, and I would
say top 15.
100%. Yeah. Top 15 storied. They have a great everything to them. The one thing I will say about Penn State, they don't really have this roller coaster effect that every other not Bama Clemson team has. Like, a lot of the other teams are like, oh, we're really, really good and we're really, really bad. And we're like, they're consistently here, right? Mm-hmm. I think that almost sometimes comes to bite them in the ass. They consistently get good enough players that won't compete for a natty, but will make them not bad enough to make massive changes in their program. USC with Sam Darnold, the second half of the year Sam Darnold started, were the best team in college football. Mm-hmm. And that is here. And then USC's down here. I just think there's something to be said about restarting a program that James Franklin might be interested in, but I feel like James Franklin is Penn State at this point.
Well, he is. I would be shocked right now. I saw a report come out today that there's mutual interest. I don't think that's true. You want to know why? It's because, I don't know, I can't remember if it's still like this, but at one point he had the number 1 recruiting class in the country.
He did this year.
Yeah, you're telling me that guy, after everything he's built, and you can argue all you want that he's not like an elite coach.
Yes,
but he is a very good coach.
Very good recruiter. 100%.
Very good recruiter.
And the kids would die for him.
100%. And you're at a place where consistently the stands are filled every game, even when the team isn't top notch. The stands are filled You're telling me he's going to leave for USC? I just don't know.
They keep saying we need football in LA, and they're adding NFL teams and all that shit. Happy Valley has nothing else to live for than Penn State football.
It's like the Buffalo Bills of college football. You know, like
Agreed.
Always close, but never quite. But it's such an
electric
atmosphere. And I know that I'm biased and all that. I just don't see USC. I don't see James Franklin going to USC. They will probably try like hell to get him to sign on there. Probably show him the bag. A spin zone on this is Franklin might just use this as an opportunity to leverage a pay jump at Penn State, which I think is a very real possibility.
That man deserves more money than he's being paid, because here's what it comes down to, Smalls. Penn State had the number 1 recruiting class. That is not off the back of Penn State's history. That's not off the. This is like one of the first times that I can really say this had nothing to do with Joe Pa in a way. You know what I mean? Like, respectfully to James Franklin, but like, this had nothing to do with Joe Pa. This had nothing to do with the history of Penn State being a powerhouse. This is Coach Franklin saying, "Come play for me. We're going to compete."
Yep, and they, for the most part, they do. I think last year was a little blip.
Yes.
But at the very least, they are the only competitor to Ohio State in the Big Ten.
Agreed.
And that's why I just don't really get it. I know why USC got rid of Clay Helton, because Clay Helton, you could tell that they were just waiting. He always saved his job. He always saved his job at the end of the year. That Stanford loss, as bad as it was, that gave them the excuse to get rid of him.
Yep.
So he's just been mediocre since that 2016 season.
Agreed.
So, all right. Let's go to the AP rankings. We're not going to go through all of it. Oregon makes a giant jump. I think that's one thing to note here.
Yep.
And that might be too quick of a reaction. We'll see, but they jumped up big.
Hear me out. I do not think they should have surpassed Iowa. That's all I got. Iowa has been who they are. I get that, they haven't really played an Ohio State. This was the one time I was like, Iowa's making top 4.
Yeah, and the problem with Iowa, they have the hype right now. They never live up to. I know they beat a good Iowa
They've been
State
dogs.
team.
They've been dogs.
Yep. I don't know. Dog.
Dog.
But yeah, we'll see. We'll see about Iowa. They did make a big jump. I get it. We'll see though. I don't know. There's something about Iowa that just it's Iowa. You know.
Agreed.
Like
yeah.
If you've been a Big Ten fan as long as I have, you know.
Big Ten.
Big Ten. It's Iowa.
The other thing to note here, Smalls, that I just want to bring up: if Coastal Carolina and Notre Dame played today, Coastal Carolina would win.
I firmly believe that, and I have some stats when I get into my bets later.
Good.
But yeah, I think Penn State jumping up one, sure, whatever. I just think it was mostly because of all the stuff that happened up top there.
Yeah.
Again, Notre Dame only jumped down 4 spots. I don't understand it. I don't get it. They should be beating these teams, but they're not beating them in the way that they
Nope.
really should be to be ranked 12th in the country. I don't understand it. UCLA keeps climbing up. We'll keep an eye on them. Ole Miss jumped up, even though they played like Austin, PA. Like we'll see. They just haven't really played it. They played like Louisville and Austin, PA. So
I will say,
we'll
although they played a scrub, Auburn, I'm glad that they're at 22. I think that they can prove a lot. They looked really good.
Mm-hmm.
I just, obviously they played a nobody, but you still got to win. You know what I mean? Notre Dame played kind of a nobody. And
Yeah, and we'll get to the big games this week, but
yes.
Auburn, I don't think that many people have learned a ton about Auburn.
No.
If I'm being honest, because they played Akron, which is one of the worst FBS schools in the country right now, and Alabama State. What are you going to learn from that? I don't think that that's really telling whatsoever. I get it. I think they should be ranked. I'm not saying that they shouldn't be. But we just don't know anything about them, really.
I'm excited for them to play Penn State.
Yep.
I am.
Me too. Oh, buddy. Me too. And then Miami still being ranked.
They technically won.
I know. And Michigan. See,
I'm glad they're ranked. That's how I'll word it.
Yeah, let's say I'm not shocked.
Yeah.
You know how I feel about Jim Harbaugh, but they look decent.
Yep.
They're really strong on the ground. They feel slightly different than what we're used to with Michigan. But
Agreed.
We'll see. All right. And then Arkansas obviously being ranked, I think that totally makes sense because they
Razorback.
They shit kicked Texas. All right, Deke.
Yes, sir.
What do you got?
Let's jump into On Tap. This week is potential Steelers prospects that are risers and fallers for the draft that's coming up. Number one name, we talked about him a lot. Still the most promising name the Pittsburgh Steelers could take in the first round. They have us projected between somewhere around 16 to 23 right now, making the playoffs, still being up there. Desmond Ridder, quarterback out of Cincinnati. Here's the one thing I'll say about Desmond Ridder. Hasn't been a world beater, but what he has been is very consistent, and he hasn't looked bad, which correlates with a guy who is an absolute decline, which is Sam Howell out of NC State or UNC, excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
Do I believe that Howell would be there when the Steelers pick? No. Do I believe that Howell deserves to be there when the Steelers pick? Yes, because I don't like Sam Howell. Sam Howell threw 17 for 32 on 208, had a touchdown, 3 interceptions. I just don't see it. And Greg Malik adores this kid, whatever. We'll get to the end of that. The biggest riser recently is Virginia Tech's cornerback Jermaine Waller. The Steelers need to address the cornerback position. They're losing Joe Hayden. They brought in Akeem Witherspoon from Seattle. They lost Steven Nelson. We have some guys. I'm a big fan of Sutton. I think he's fitting the system a little bit. But 7 tackles, 3 solo, and 1 pass defended for Waller this past week. And the other name that is a riser, which would fill a need the Pittsburgh Steelers have. I don't know if Devin Lloyd, linebacker out of Utah, will be a first-round prospect when it's all said and done. But he's an athletic freak, 12 tackles, 7 of them solo, 1 forced fumble, 1 interception coming off the weekend. Granted, it was a weak opponent, but I like Devin Lloyd to be a big riser for the Pittsburgh Steelers at middle linebacker. And the last name is a guy that I love, a guy that I've talked about, and a guy that I regret placing in that Heisman list is Justin Ross out of Clemson. He finished last week a game that they blew up with 3 catches for 52 yards and a touchdown. Justin Ross, I believe, will be a better pro prospect than his college game shows, but his college game will not get him in the first round. See him dropping to about the third. Hopefully the Steelers can snag him, but we'll have to see.
Yeah. I do feel like they're not going to go wide receiver, at least in the
Agreed.
first round, because they always find value no matter what draft it is.
100%.
They know how to draft receivers, and they know when they can get them and when the value is there. So
Agreed.
that's one thing I'll say about that. Yeah, Sam Howell, I don't. Yeah, that Virginia Tech game, I think that was telling for me. That was very telling.
100%.
Yeah, no, love that though. Desmond Ridder, I think that would be interesting. I don't know, like
I don't love the senior aspect. So the Pittsburgh Steelers are notorious for drafting younger guys. They did it with Juju and basically the last couple picks because you get that extra year extension. They like getting those 19 to 20-year-old kids coming to the league. Obviously 19 being a little younger than the demographic of what it is. Edmonds being the youngest recent in memory, but the 20 to 21 that way on your fourth year, you're 24, 25. When you get the extension, next big contract leads you to be 30, and then you're out the door as a Steeler. They normally have about a 10-year window for their players that are of that first round caliber.
Yeah, I agree. No, you didn't say anything wrong there. So
It's what I do best, baby.
you're the draft guy. All right, let's get into this.
He couldn't get me a shrunken head, so I got a T-shirt.
All right, Deke, did you see this?
I did not.
Yeah. So I'm just gonna send you the video after. I don't want it to get taken down, but so there was an Alabama player, Jordan Battle, he was in a press conference, right, and just taking questions from the media, and they asked him, "What is your favorite Nick Saban quote or like Sabanism, if that makes sense? Like those little one-liners that he always says." And this guy came back with, he really likes saying "suck on D's nuts." He didn't say nuts, but he said "suck on D's," and he just kind of laughed. And it's hilarious that he's never gonna get put on a podium again. But "suck on D's," the fact that Nick Saban says "suck on D's nuts" when no one's watching, I think is incredible, and I think it shows that Saban behind closed doors is actually a player's coach. Apparently, the Bama players love Nick Saban.
So it would be impossible to be Bill Belichick at the college level.
Yeah.
In my mind, I think that they would kill for Saban, and I think that Saban reminds me a lot of, and obviously it's very different. It's not really correlated, but Coach Cal. And what I mean by that is, I know for a fact Nick Saban goes into your living room and says, "Ma'am," to your mother, "this young man is going to be one of the 300 players in the NFL. If he comes to Alabama, I will make sure he gets every inch of the money that he deserves." And so I think that he's very good at that business side, but I also think he gives a shit, which is something he would.
Sounds like it.
Well, and the give a shit mentality comes from like, dude, if I'm in part of James Franklin's #1 recruiting class, and I hear James Franklin be like, "Yeah, I would consider USC," I'm pissed because you go to the school for the coach as much as the school.
Yep.
The fact that Saban is never leaving Bama until he retires, gives them a little bit of happiness. So I love this story, and I believe that he's the coolest dude behind closed doors.
You always hear just about how funny he is, how he takes players on his boat, like on the lake, just because. It sounds like they legitimately like this guy. Yes. Even though he's kind of a hard ass sometimes, and agreed. I'm sure he can be because you're the best coach in college football history. You have to be a hard ass. He's definitely not a media darling by any stretch of the imagination, but this is so humanizing for Nick Saban. I think, if anything, I'm a recruit. I hear this that he's saying "suck on D's nuts" behind closed doors. Sign me the fuck up, as if I'm already not trying to go to as if I'm not trying to go to Alabama. Right. So, this is awesome. This is so funny for me because it's so not what you think of when you think Nick Saban.
I love it.
I don't know. We don't know. He's never been caught on camera saying this, but the fact that he allegedly says "suck on D's nuts" and "touch D's nuts." So funny. All right. Big games this week. So the slate that I have: Cincy, Indiana. I'll get into why I think that could be a big deal. Bama versus Florida, obviously a big deal. Auburn, Penn State, I think one of the most, but not even just me, I think just in general, a ton of people are going to watch this game because it's interesting. Because these two teams really don't play that often. Really,
Agreed.
yeah, I don't even remember the last time we played Auburn. And Arizona State, BYU, I threw that in there because it's another ranked matchup. And kind of interesting, honestly. But we'll start with Cincy, Indiana. I don't really, like, Indiana, they beat Idaho last week. So the fuck what? I don't care. Cincy beat Murray State. I don't care. The reason that this game is important is because if Cincinnati has any shot of getting into the playoff, they have to win this game at Indiana. They also play Notre Dame next week, which it sucks for Cincy because I really like Cincy. I really want Cincy to get into the playoff just for something different. But it sucks because Indiana got embarrassed by Iowa week 1, and Notre Dame does not look as good as everyone thought they were going to. However, if they end up beating both Indiana and Notre Dame and run the table, I think they have a legitimate argument to get into the playoff. As far as this game goes, I do think that Cincy beats Indiana in a very, very, very tight game. I think it's going to be low scoring because Cincy's defense is elite. And it'll be really close, but I do think I only think it's going to be close because Tom Allen is going to get his boys ready to play. So I'm going with Cincy.
Yeah, Cincy coming in as 4-point favorites. Give me Cincinnati. They have something to prove against an opponent that is kind of good, but not really good in a way. Like Indiana has the name power. They don't have much. So give me Cincy -4 and actually give me the over at 49.5. I think this game, I don't know. I like it. I think it's close. Like you said, I think it goes to maybe 10 points, 7 points, something of that nature, but give me the over in this one. I like Cincy's offense.
Okay. Nice. I'm good with that. Bama, Florida. People on paper, this looks like a good matchup. I think Bama's just going to decimate Florida. So give me Bama, and the reason is Florida lives and dies by the run game. They put up like 300 yards they averaged over 300 yards on the ground this season. It's 2 games, but still, Emory Jones is not the answer at quarterback. I don't think he has to play better, and I just think that Alabama D-line is gonna swallow anything that Florida tries to throw at them on the ground.
Yeah, I have Alabama as the win as well. They are 14 points favorite. I will never not bet for Alabama, Nick Saban, as we said. Give me Bama -14, but then give me the under. The line set at 59.5. I believe Alabama can put up 40. I don't believe in Florida. I just have always hated Florida. I don't give a shit. So give me the under here. I think that Bama walks out of here with like a 42-0 victory. Fuck it.
Nice.
Maybe not, but fuck it.
No. All right, get down to my boys. So I'm just going to leave it here. The blind confidence so far has paid off. And I have 2 facts that I'm going to lay out for you.
Oh, data.
2 facts. Not even data, just analytics, not analytics.
Love it.
It's a 7:30 primetime game in Happy Valley. That's number 1.
Is it a
Number 2, it's a whiteout.
It's a whiteout.
It's a whiteout.
Wow.
That's it.
That's terrifying. Whiteouts don't miss. They just can't.
Very rarely, and even in games they lose in a whiteout, it's unbelievably close in games that should not be close. Or they lose on a shitty play call like Franklin did in 2017. Or 2018, I think. But
the last 2 weeks I have bet against them, Smalls. I think that it's too good to be true. Penn State -5 at home, 7:30, whiteout against a team that's decent, but we don't know who they are. Give me Penn State -5. I also have the under at 53. Reason being is that I think that there's some games that just get blown out of water. I think that this game will be pretty tight to the chest.
It will. I think it'll be because we don't So the Wisconsin game was very close. I don't think we learned that the defense is really good for Penn State. Outside of that, I didn't learn a ton about my team that game. And who the fuck cares about Ball State? So these are two teams that, and the Wisconsin game it's a Big Ten game. A lot of times you can't really tell who or like the identity of a team if it's a big time Big Ten matchup because you're just trying to win at all costs. So you can throw the plan out the window. So not only that, I do think that these two teams are very similar in the fact that they have great defenses, they have very good running backs, and the quarterbacks are good to decent and kind of play the same way. Bo Nix and Sean Clifford are both good running the ball.
Agreed.
They can scramble, they can make plays happen, but they don't have elite arms. But blind confidence is taking over. I'm taking Penn State, taking my boys. So
I love it.
Arizona State, BYU.
Interested to see you here.
So I'm taking BYU here. BYU, they had a big win against Utah this past weekend. It was actually a big deal because it was an in-state rivalry game. One of the first sellouts at BYU Stadium since like 2017, and the defense looked very good. It's going to be a tough game because Arizona State, what's their quarterback's name? Jaden Daniels, very good. They have 4 wide receivers right now that average more than 10 yards a catch. And they are the number 1 rushing Pac-12 team. But BYU's defense does look good. So give me BYU, especially at home. And I'm just not. Arizona State has kind of hovered around the same spot all year. I just don't know about Herm Edwards yet. He might turn out. It might turn out great. I just I don't know. I don't know anything about Arizona State as far as like being in close games. Like they're just
how they react.
Yeah, their offense is very good though.
Yeah, their offense has been good. I mean, you got big names coming out of there. Brandon Ayuk was an elite factor coming into that Arizona State offense. They just played UNLV 37-10, which I like. I kind of was leaning a little bit maybe towards BYU, but then you look at their last game, Utah 26-17. You look at Arizona 24-16. Arizona State is favored by 4.5. I'm going to take them, but I am going to take the over of this game, which is set at 50.5. I don't think it's an indictment on BYU's defense. I think it'll be an indictment on how well both of these offenses can function. And Arizona State is going to put up around 30. So BYU just has to bring their shit to the table.
Yep. I also have you ever seen BYU's coach?
No.
Just a big Polynesian dude, which I think just screams Utah. So I'm a big fan of that guy. Big fan of
Kalani
that guy.
Sitake.
That's right.
Fun fact, I just bought groceries, and the guy at the counter made me pronounce shiitake mushrooms to him because he thought it was shit take.
Shit take.
He said, "Can you pronounce that for me?" I said, shiitake. He goes,
No. All right. Let's get to Don't Tell My Bookie this week. So I'm riding with my boys for my first pick. I'm taking the over. Coastal versus Buffalo. I'm taking the over. Coastal has proven to have a very good offense. Right now, Grayson McCall is leading the country in pass yards per attempt, adjusted pass yards per attempt, passing efficiency, and completion percentage. He's the number 1 quarterback in the country. Coastal Carolina, they're just going to run all over Buffalo, I think. And Buffalo also, they've gone over in 10 of their last 15 games. Coastal has gone over in 6 out of their last 7 games. So definitely I'm hammering the over on this one. I was not wrong about the over last week with Coastal. Cincinnati, Indiana, I'm taking the under because Cincy's defense is elite. They're number 9 in the country on yards per play. Number 11 in points against, and number 10 in passing yards. And I know it's early, but we all know that Cincinnati's D is elite. Plus, I really just think they're going to shut Penix down. Give me the under on that one. Old Dominion versus Liberty. Liberty is going to shit kick Dominion. I think they're going to easily cover that spread of 27.5 points. Malik Willis he's a sleeper Heisman pick in my opinion. I think he's just going to keep going. And then Northwestern versus Duke. Duke is awful. Northwestern is at least a Big Ten team. So I'm going to go Northwestern covering at -3. Really just because Northwestern is 8-3-1 against the spread in their last 12, and Duke is 1-5 against the spread in their last 6. So
big Liberty show as well.
Yeah, big Liberty show. Love Liberty. So I don't know. I hit 2 out of 3 last week, and I felt pretty good.
Nice.
So yeah, the Ohio State one bit me in the ass though. Just one
that was
fucking
a tough
point.
One. That
one
wasn't your
fucking
fault.
Point. Yeah. All right, Deke. You know what time it is.
Pit Viper time.
So, Deke, do you know what the Auburn Tigers and Possums have in common? They get
Striped.
fucking killed on the fucking road. Let's go, baby. Dude, Akron, they beat Akron, the worst FBS team in the country. Who gives a fuck? Alabama State, who gives a fuck? Dude, Bo Nix, Bo's a fucking dog name. I don't give a shit that you've been a fucking Auburn fan your whole life. Don't give a shit about that. You cannot handle that whiteout smoke. 108,000 people. There's absolutely no fucking way. It's a Saturday night, man. It's a Saturday night in Happy Valley. And you know what? I can feel it coming in the air tonight, Deke. I can feel it coming in the air tonight. My boys are going to kick. We're not going to shit kick them, but dude, fuck Auburn. I have a lot of friends that go to Auburn. Fuck Auburn. How was that?
I love it. Fuck Auburn.
Fuck Auburn.
War Eagles, but you're the Tigers too. Seems like an
it doesn't
identity
make any
crisis.
sense. Yeah, they're just a wannabe Alabama, man. They're
Basically.
just a wannabe Alabama. No, I'm actually very excited for this game. It'll be interesting. SEC Big Ten is always kind of interesting to see. It's just going to be a really close game, I think. Yep. And the whiteout it's always electric to watch. Even if you hate Penn State, you can't talk shit on the whiteout.
You love it. You gotta love the whiteouts, man. It's just too good.
You have to. And also Bo Nix. Fuck Bo Nix. I fucking hate Bo Nix.
I just don't care about him. You know what I mean? Like people keep trying to tell us that we need to care about him because he wore a jersey of Auburn growing up, and now he's their quarterback. It's like sick, dude. Yeah. Good for you, brother.
That's what I'm saying, dude. And I just don't think that he's going to be able to. I think those Auburn guys are going to get up there, and I think they're not going to know what to do with that whiteout crowd. And I know that's just me, but
just a little biased.
Just a little biased. But those are my boys, and I can't pick against them until they rip my heart out, which will inevitably happen. So, all right, Deke. It was a good one.
It was a great show. I'm excited for college football this week. I'm excited to see Ohio State bounce back. I'm excited to see Penn State. There's a lot of good games coming up here.
Yep, a lot of. We're not even in conference.
Nope.
In conference season yet, so we got some good games. I mean, I will be. This is really the first weekend where I'm not gonna be out of town or not being able to watch any games. So I'm just gonna plant myself on a couch for 12 hours and watch football all day. Watch Lee Corso stumble through his headgear pick, and
he torched Iowa State last week. He said he showed them the trophy that Iowa and Iowa State play against. He goes, I brought it here today because Iowa State hasn't seen it in a few years. Yeah. I was like, Lee, they got families, my dude.
Mm-hmm.
Love it.
Lee Corso, national treasure. I think it might be time. It's going to be sad, but I do think it's time to get him off the air.
They'll wait until he.
Yeah, I know. So. He doesn't really make any sense anymore. That's the thing. He got to the point of Lou Holtz. Lou Holtz was speaking nonsense by the time that he left ESPN.
Agreed.
So, all right, Deke.
So, buddy.
It's a good one. I don't know if you even have a beer, but
I did. I finished it, so I got to get another one because I'm going to go live and punish everybody's fantasy football team on Facebook and Instagram here in a second.
Including mine, yeah.
So excited.
Yeah. All right, guys. Appreciate it. Peace.
Hawkeyes. Razorback.